welcome to this energy work ASMR video. Today I have something a bit different for you, but I am going to be performing some energy healing in the background of this video, and this will be some subtle energy that you'll receive whilst you watch me doing some energy work around the house. So this is just an experiment, and if you do get something from this video or you like it, let me know down below. So as usual, I'm just going to relax into this session, and we're going to breathe into this session. So first of all, we come to some crystal energy work. So we have a ritual around here in our house, and that is to have intentional altars in every single room. So this room happens to be our bedroom, and every few months, maybe 4 times a year, every quarter, every season, so to speak, I get the instinct to change the altar around. So here you'll see me rearranging the crystals, and what I'm actually doing is intuitively setting the crystals down in a way that represents what we are dreaming towards. In Feng Shui, our success direction, both me and my husband, happens to be that of the east. So we placed this altar on the east wall, and it is a space where we come to dream up that which we wish to be successful in, because this happens to be our success direction. I do talk about this more in my energy alchemy course. I briefly touch upon Feng Shui and how you can apply it to your life and your space. So if you did want to find out more about that, you can click on the top right hand corner of this video. But I do very much believe that life is an energetic game. And when we think of the concept that everything, including the matter, the seemingly hard matter that you may be leaning on right now, is actually at its deepest level energy, then we begin to have to reframe how we see reality. And so the more consciously aware we can become of the subtle energy bodies, the better. For example, this kind of energy work that you see me doing, and especially the energy healing that I like to do very often on this channel, is actually, I find, to be very practical for me. My practical sense may be slightly different to what's practical for you, but that's because we're all different. So, but the reason that this is practical for me is because when I take part in this energy work, I make a pledge to myself to be as honest as possible and to treat the thing that I'm doing with as much integrity as possible. And so this helps me to create a sacred space. And when you're able to create sacred space and hold your intention in place, then this does wonders. This is what I was talking about with the practicality of it. This does wonders for your healing and for your growth to take place. So some part of our conscious or unconscious memory remembers a time when we worked with the subtle energies of Earth, otherwise known as magic. So magic is a very interesting concept. The way that I like to work with magic is I like to pair the action body, the physical body, the practicalness of life with the imagination. And so what that looks like for me is walking through a forest and really taking my time to walk through this forest, really honouring every single tree that I come across, maybe even asking for permission before I enter the forest or sit by a tree. And this isn't because we see ourselves as higher or lower than, say, a tree or any other thing. What it really is an interchange of respect and communion. Just like you would say hello to a human being if they're right in front of you. And that would be the cordial thing to do. And so, for me, walking through a forest, I like to let the trees know that I can sense them. I can sense into their benevolence. And I like to hold a prayer when I'm walking through, that this space can hold love, hold protection, and be able to thrive in the coming years, because to me that feels like the only thing I can really contribute in this moment, is to just hold a sacred space, a sacred prayer for nature in my heart. And this can be the same for anything in your home, whether it be a crystal altar or whether it be plants. Our modern day ways of living, they've basically misused or ignored some of these energetic notions that we used to live by, and it's mainly because of fear. Fear because we all forgot that we were made of energy, basically, and now there's this big awakening. People are realizing that they're made out of energy, and they don't know what to do with this concept, or at least some of us didn't know what to do in the beginning. All that's required is an honest, open heart. Intention is everything. I spend a lot of my time in the garden, and I started to realize that I have these plants inside the house that probably need even more love and care than, say, the plants outside do, because they're stripped away from their natural ecosystem, their natural environment. And that's the same with crystals too. They're not inside of the earth anymore, and unfortunately that does take away from some of their essence. And so I think if we can be aware of what we're using when we're using it, and treat it with the respect and love that it deserves, then it can be a tool, it can be a technology that actually helps us as opposed to hinder us. So, my nana used to always tell me this story, and I'm going to tell it to you now. She always loved gardening, and it was definitely something that I admired about her, because she's a very strong-willed character, my nan, and her softness used to come out when it came to gardening. and she told me about this plant that she had in her house. And every morning she would look at this plant, and years went by and she wondered why it didn't flower anymore. And she told me that one morning, as she was going down the stairs to start her breakfast and eat her breakfast for the day, she stopped at this plant and she said out loud to it, "If you don't flower this year, then I won't be keeping you much longer," or something akin to this. And what do you think the plant did when she said this? Have a guess. It responded to her. Yeah, it responded to her, and it flowered for the first time in years after that. So that's just one example. I just wanted to do a bit of an experiment to see for myself, just to see whether the energy, the loving energy that I could transmit through my hands could help them to come back in some way, or stay alive in some way. And I wanted to give some of them extra energy in order to bring them back to life, or simply just share some personal attention and care with them, as I noticed that this seems to keep them thriving. In fact, there's been plenty of studies that show that this is the case with many different things. The words that you use and the intentions and thoughts that you hold towards something can keep it alive, or it can kill it. So this is similar to what happens when we spend some time with our own bodies and check in with how we're feeling. If we can spend this kind of time with our bodies and check in with how we're feeling, then we can choose to take practical steps to express or mend our own energies in a moment. One of my biggest intentions with the work that I do and the videos that I create here on YouTube and all of the other services I provide is to become my own healer and learn how to do that. And that's what I've been learning for many years now, so that I can help to point certain people during certain times of their journey to do the same thing, which is to innately heal themselves. But we can choose to take practical steps to express or mend our energies in a moment, just as I'm trying to mend the energy of these flowers here. And I do this by holding space for love. I don't try to heal the illness, of, say, a wilting flower. It's really healing to me is about intending for love to take place. Is intending for a type of thriving to take place. And that's what real healing looks like to me, is to intend for the greatest good. So right now I've been holding a sacred space circle for anyone and everyone to come. And this is what I call Synchronicity sessions. And so every week we've been getting on a call, a live Zoom call, with the people that have signed up through my website, who just want some fellow sisters and brothers to talk to about their spiritual growth or about their mental health. I love this idea of creating a circle for people to come together. And if you'd like to be a part of that, make sure to check out my website. And for now, I will see you in the next video. Peace, love, and and protection to you.